these are your trigger warnings for these episodes. You thought there weren't going to be any anymore, but there are. So the trigger warnings for this episode is racism and suicidal thoughts. So if, it's weird to say if that's not your jam, but if that's not what you can listen to, then we'll skip us both. Bye.
Bye.
How awful.
Wake me up inside. Wake me up. Wake me up and save me.
Guys.
God, I used to be obsessed with that song. Today's a bad day, Tanya.
Why?
Because Timothy Chalamet is dyeing his hair blonde. It's a bad day.
So the rumor has it.
That's a how awful.
That's pretty awful.
That's a how awful.
But if anybody can look handsome.
No!
It's the most, well, sorry, Timothy. It's the second most handsomest of them all.
Yeah, but now I think you might be onto something that Harry might also have to dye his hair blonde for this role because there's actually been articles about how he's preparing to dye his hair blonde. So they're both going to be blonde, and I don't like adult male blondes.
Don't discriminate.
I am discriminating. You guys are weird.
Well, hi.
Baby blondes, adorable.
Baby blondes, very cute.
Adult male blondes. What are you doing? Are you in a boy band?
Unless
Why?
Unless you're like Ryan Gosling. He's a handsome male blonde.
He's dark blonde.
Okay, but he's still blonde.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, who else?
Charlie Hunnam.
Austin Butler.
Yeah, fine.
We can keep going.
I guess. But for the most part, you guys are weird and I don't like it.
Chris Hemsworth?
Ew.
He's not my type, but he's not ugly.
No, ew.
Okay, well, whatever.
I'm getting kissy faces from my mommy.
You are?
Yeah, I'm busy. She doesn't get it.
Are you taking a kissy selfie?
Yes. Because she sent me a kissy selfie.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but there is...
Sorry. An assistant?
There is an assistant purring. It's a weird sound for assistants to make.
She sounds like crickets. It's very lulling,
it's
actually.
It's like nighttime. It is. That's my favorite sound.
She decided her office is my lap today.
Yes. Part of Moosh's assistant duties is he tucks me into bed at night.
That's weird.
And he sits on me and he massages my belly.
Your relationship. Are you officially reporting this to HR?
No, I'm not reporting it to HR because I don't hate it.
Oh, well, still.
So.
Well,
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. That's still an HR issue. And now that you've told me, I feel obligated to report it.
Close your ears. It's not like an intimate thing. It's like
He's in your bed massaging your belly.
Yeah,
and that's not an intimate thing.
It's like sweet boy flex.
He is your employee.
Are you a sweet boy?
No.
He opened his mouth as if to say yes.
No. It's a no.
Okay, well.
Sorry.
Guys.
What?
We got an email.
We did get an email.
Should we introduce ourselves? Did we? I don't
We
remember.
didn't do that. At this point, what the hell, guys? You don't know who we are?
I guess I'm Tanya Lee.
I guess I'm B.
We got an email from Grandmaster Rose.
We did, from my mommy. I was nervous after our, not last episode, because the last episode was with Mona, but the one before that, because we delved into my religious history, and obviously my mom was a big part of that. So she wrote an email wanting to address some things. So she said, I need to first apologize to you both for ever letting you get involved with the Wade situation. I should have gone and checked it out myself to see what was going on. This was total brainwashing the youth into thinking it was his way or no way. Also, Tanya, I need to apologize to your mom because when you went with B, I was responsible for your safety and welfare, and I failed. I'm so deeply sorry. I hope you forgive me for my ignorance. Now, I want to say I could never, ever be more proud of both of you. You are strong, think for yourself, women, and say what you feel, and I love and admire that strength in both of you. I wasn't raised in church, but I knew about God and had faith in him. A lot of my church life I did out of guilt and worry about what anybody would think of me. Because of who my husband was, who his family was, I was expected to be this model Christian wife and mother. My dad's parents literally built their church, like with their hands.
With their hands,
yes. But no one ever showed me how, so I watched other mothers to see what they did. I felt like an imposter, and now, in all caps, I don't. I still believe in God and pray to him daily. This believing that whites are the only true spiritual beings and we rule over all makes me sick and fighting mad. If these people were truly spiritual, they would know Jesus wasn't white. Amen, Rose. And clearly says that God made man in his image. Our world is in such a tormented state that we need to figure out how to learn to accept everyone, every color, every nationality, no matter who they love. Love is the greatest thing in the world. Why would you deny someone that one true gift? Well, I'm done. I could keep going, but all I wanted to say right now I did. So thank you for allowing me to get this off my chest. I love you both so dearly. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm sure you are encouraging others to do the same. Always and forever, Mama, Grandmaster Rose, XOXO.
Slay.
She went in.
She went in. I think, okay, well, first of all, before we say anything else, I need to just set the record straight.
What?
I was not at all traumatized.
Yeah, I told her that.
By my experiences at your church.
I had this conversation with my mom that what we were talking about sounded, bad. We were essentially getting screamed at the end of everything. But at the same time, that was just Wade. When he preached on Sundays, on occasion, he was yelling at the entire congregation. So my idea was that was just Wade's flex. And that's just how he was.
We honestly would giggle about it.
Yeah, we were like, this is aggressive.
So,
and honestly, it's just now as an adult looking back on it that we realize, oh, that was kind of messed up. But
right, and that's of no fault to your mom.
No, we
never.
We never sat there. And he also, to be very, very clear, never put us in physical danger.
Never,
or made us feel
weird.
like we were in physical danger.
No.
He was just aggressive and culty and definitely trying to brainwash us into a religion that we were fighting against.
Yes, and Rose, you and my mother raised very
independent my own
thinking,
horn, yes.
But to my own horn, but yes, like very independent, smart young women who know the difference. Yeah, and I think we were able to see what was happening with open eyes and open ears and understand that we were like, that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
That was about it. So,
Exactly.
Good job, moms.
Nobody in the church ever hurt me. They just raised some red flags.
No.
So
now, should we talk about Catholic school? Because that was a different story.
Oh, yeah, no,
that's a story for another time.
Oh, dear Lordy heavens. But I did promise her something. I promised her that we would stop saying, sorry, Mom, before we say something, or if we swear, or before we say something, I don't know, controversial that we think she's going to grow offense to. We grew up with my mother being like the person, if you so much as said, like, something sucked.
Well, personally, it's not even directed at your mom. I think it's more of a running joke of all moms.
All moms. Yeah, all moms matter.
I include my mom in that sorry mom.
Yes. Yeah.
Because my mom, the running joke is she's going to be aghast when she's not at all.
They're never aghast.
Never.
No. It's a sorry mom to all of the moms.
That's the role we play as children.
Yes.
Sorry, Mom, but I'm going to say something inappropriate that you're literally not going to care about, but it's a funny thing to say.
Exactly.
To pretend like because you're supposed to care. You're supposed to be aghast.
I think it's the time sometimes we say sorry, Mom, and we follow it up with a sorry, Rose. Like we'll deliberately say Rose because I think we're conditioned from my childhood when she was easily offended.
Yeah.
And easily aghast. And she is no longer. She has grown up.
Yes.
I always have said that she's had her coming of age later in life. She's having her teenage years now. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, we party with Rose.
We party with Rose.
Party with MJ, we party with Rose.
It's a good time.
Our moms are animals. Don't let them out.
It's a really good time to feel like you can relax and be yourself around your parents. It's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling for sure.
Yeah.
I miss my mom.
I would have been afraid to do this podcast probably 10 years ago.
Fair enough.
Well, for one, Dad would have been alive. That would have absolutely. That's why I would have been afraid.
Literally what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Not your mom at all.
No, not my mom at all. It would have been, Daddy Mitch.
Your mom would have probably been like, that's really cool. Don't tell your dad.
Yeah. We're just going to pretend like you're not doing it.
Yes.
Anyway,
here we are.
Here we are.
Another week. Today's a little more normal episode. Sorry we don't have any fun guests for you today. Tell you scary stories.
Yeah. We will, though.
Creepy stories. We will, very soon.
We will.
It's going to be an active April.
It is going to be an active April. Awful April.
Awful April, yeah.
Awful April. That's a tongue twister.
So I'm first today, aren't I?
You are first. True crime. You said it's going to get political.
It's going to get political. So for those that are listening that are not friends and family, because we do have several of those that are not connected to us.
Yeah.
I would like to preface this with, please keep an open mind while listening to this story, especially if you do not lean liberal.
Okay.
Which I feel like if you're listening to this podcast and you've been consistently listening to this podcast, you probably already know that we're Californians and we're pretty liberal.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that to make excuses for it. I'm saying that to encourage
Well, you have prefaced it.
I have.
You have.
All right.
We're ready.
Some of y'all might have already heard this name. On June 27th, 1987, Purvis Payne.
It sounds very familiar.
Yeah. It's been roaming the interwebs.
Yeah.
The social medias. A 20-year-old black young man was waiting for his girlfriend at her apartment in Millington, Tennessee, when he saw a man covered in blood fleeing the building. By the way,
what?
When I said this is going to get political,
yeah,
I don't actually believe that the color of someone's skin
is political.
But I am very painfully aware that other people believe that the color of someone's skin is political.
Yes.
That's why I prefaced it.
Can I sidebar? Absolutely no disrespect, unless, I don't know, absolutely no disrespect. Who names their kid Purvis?
I know, poor Purvis.
Poor Purvis. They call him for short, Perv?
It was the 60s when he was born. He was born in 60. If it was 1987, he's 20.
Well, it's like the people that named their kid Gaylord.
Yeah.
They weren't thinking ahead.
This poor young man. Okay, so he's waiting outside of his girlfriend's apartment in Millington, Tennessee, when he saw a man covered in blood fleeing the building.
Mm-hmm.
The man ran past Purvis, dropping change and papers as he ran, some of which Purvis picked up before actually entering the building. On his way up, he noticed the door to the apartment across the hall was open. He heard a noise, so he entered the neighbor's home, where he encountered, as he says, quote, the worst thing I ever saw in my life, end quote. Charisse Christopher, a white woman, had been stabbed 41 times and still had a knife sticking out of her throat.
Oh, God.
Panic came over him, and he did everything he could to help her. He noticed that her hand was grasping the knife, so he removed it.
Oh, no, you don't do that.
He then went to check on her 2 young children before running to get help and discovered that her 2-year-old daughter had also been murdered. And her, I don't know how old he was, I don't remember, but her son had been stabbed several times, but he survived.
Okay, I'm just going to side note again. If ever you or someone you love are stabbed, don't move the knife.
Don't remove the knife.
Don't remove the knife. And I don't mean for fingerprints. I mean, that knife is like literally holding you together. It could be the difference between life and death. Just leave the knife in.
Yes. Well,
go to the emergency room. Leave the knife in.
You'll understand a little bit more as we go on.
I know. I get it. But I'm just saying, for further, if you ever come across a stabbed person, leave the knife in.
Yeah. Shortly after leaving the apartment to find help, officers arrived on the scene. Purvis noticed that the officers arrived, and he ran. Because as a black man in America, he knew, if I stay here, I'm going to get arrested
for this murder. Yeah.
So this is a quote from Purvis. Some other feeling just went all over me and just panicked. Just like, oh, look at this. I'm coming out of here with blood on me and everything. It going to look like I done this crime, end quote. Purvis Payne grew up in Tipton County, Tennessee, with parents who were both descendants of sharecropping families in the Jim Crow South. He is a loving son and brother who shares a very close bond with his sisters. Purvis lives with an intellectual disability and struggled throughout his school years. He had difficulty with reading, spelling, and math even after being placed in resource classes. He was unable to graduate. In his day-to-day life, Purvis struggled with mundane tasks such as cooking or doing laundry. He needed help feeding himself until he was 5. Purvis had a difficult time following complicated instructions, which at times made it hard for him to find work, but he was known for helping out around his father's church in any way he could. He also worked with his father as a painter. Pretty much his father could keep his eyes on him. Yeah. Purvis Payne was arrested later that day. Purvis did not know Charisse and had no motive to attack her. No evidence suggested that he sexually assaulted her, yet police and prosecutors argued that he made an advance on her after looking at a Playboy magazine while using drugs and alcohol, and when she rejected him, he stabbed her to death.
What?
Yes.
Good Lord.
That is the truth.
That is...
of what these police officers and prosecutors decided happened. Decided. They had no proof of this whatsoever. No evidence that this happened. They just decided that that's what happened.
Okay, just like the kid that got shot today. He thought it was his taser, not his gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
There was no evidence that Purvis was using drugs. He was never given a drug test to confirm this theory, though his mother begged the police to perform one because she knew that he had no drugs in his system.
Right.
No evidence of drug use was reported during the initial investigation. He had no history of drug use or violence and had no criminal record or any contact with the legal system before the day he found Charisse Christopher's body.
Okay.
Clean record.
Okay.
No trouble.
Good kid.
Just a good guy. Just a good guy with special needs.
Got it.
Essentially.
Yeah.
This argument that
it's a 2-for-1 for police. They like pinning things on black men and people with special needs who can't defend themselves.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
This argument that a young black man became violent as a result of uncontrollable sexual urges and drug use relied on harmful and false stereotypes of black men instead of the facts and evidence of the case. Racial bias not only influenced the prosecution's case, but also played a role in Purvis's sentencing. Purvis was wrongfully convicted in 1988, but no evidence in his case had been tested for DNA until January 19th, 2020.
No.
The results were consistent with Purvis Payne's claims.
That's how I know his name.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to keep going.
Okay.
The results were consistent with Purvis Payne's claims of innocence. Male DNA from an unknown third party was found on key evidence, including the murder weapon, but is unfortunately too degraded to identify an alternate suspect via the FBI's database.
Okay.
To top it off, by the time the judge ordered the DNA testing, key pieces of evidence had gone missing, including Sharice's fingernail scrapings.
Interesting.
Sharice's ex-husband had a history of abusive behavior, including physically, mentally, and emotionally abusing her during their marriage. At the time, investigators excluded him as a suspect because he was serving a sentence for aggravated assault at Fort Pillow. Yes, it's called Fort Pillow, which I died.
Love it.
State penitentiary.
I want to go to... No, I don't want to go to Fort
Well, I don't want to go there, but if I'm going to go anywhere... Actually, if you're going to go anywhere...
Where is Fort Pillow located?
I think in Tennessee.
So it's Fort Pillow?
Fort Pillow. If you're going to want to go anywhere, you might want to go to Fort Pillow because...
Fort Pillow.
It's a minimum security prison. However...
That's why it's called Pillow.
Yeah. I don't know. However, an employee of the prison has since admitted that it was common for minimum security inmates to leave the prison during the day without repercussions.
What?
Meaning, it would have been entirely possible for him to have perpetrated the crime while serving his sentence. Because he could have left during the day and come back.
How on earth do you just... I'm just going to go for a walk, okay?
Well, because
see you later.
It's like a minimum security. It's like you're just serving your time. Yeah, it's not for crimes that are...
It's basically like a dormitory. But you're not serving time if you have freedom.
I don't know.
It's insane.
I've never heard of this either, but
no,
this is a thing.
Insane.
This is a thing at Fort Pillow.
Frickin' Fort Pillow. You got one job. You're failing.
So also, Purvis was not the only person who saw a bloodied man leave the crime scene. An unnamed eyewitness also saw this man, which could have easily been Sharice's husband or ex-husband.
Right.
Doctors have since confirmed through testing that Purvis does indeed have this disability. Under the 8th Amendment, it would be unconstitutional to execute him.
Because of his
disability.
Okay.
Innocent black people are 7 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted of murder than innocent white people. Studies have also shown that the race of the victim often influences the likelihood of the accused being given the death penalty.
Yep.
And in this case, Purvis was given the death penalty.
No, what?
Yes. Nearly 300 people.
I mean, if I was a jury and I thought a man killed a 2-year-old, yeah.
Sure.
Probably.
Nearly 300 black people accused of murdering white people have been executed since 1976, approximately 14 times more than the number of white people who were executed for murdering other white people. Now, these are for people who actually did the crime.
Right.
Well, in theory. We don't actually know if this is an accurate statistic of whether or not these people actually committed these crimes.
Right.
Shelby County, where the trial took place, is among the 25 counties with the most recorded lynchings between 1877 and 1950. Purvis grew up hearing stories of white men torturing and murdering black men in the area. It is in the context of this history that the prosecution repeatedly referred to the victim's white skin when pointing out areas of her body during the trial.
What?
I know, this makes me so mad. I'm getting furious just reading it. The repeated reminder of Miss Christopher's whiteness, set against the backdrop of the country's history of systemic racism, reinforced the negative stereotypes about black men that the prosecution used to portray Purvis as a killer. Purvis Payne has been sitting on death row for over 30 years. With less than a month before his execution date on December 3rd, 2020, Purvis was granted a temporary execution reprieve by Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee, which is set to expire on April 9th, 2021, which in our recording today is 3 days ago.
Yeah.
So once the temporary reprieve expires, the Tennessee Supreme Court can assign Purvis Payne a new execution date, meaning his life is still at risk, but he is not executed on April 9th. That's just when it expires, so now they can set an execution date. So he doesn't have one currently.
Right, but typically execution dates are like years off.
Right. However, the governor has the power to commute his sentence. A powerful coalition that includes 150 faith, legal, legislative, and community groups across the state of Tennessee has voiced its support for clemency for Purvis, whose case has all the hallmarks of a wrongful conviction.
Yeah.
An intellectual disability, racial bias, and crucial missing evidence. And at this point, DNA that shows
that it wasn't him.
That there is a third-party male involved in the crime, and 2 eyewitnesses saying they saw a bloodied man leaving the scene that was not Purvis Payne. So if that bill passes, Purvis will have a chance to present his claim and show that he never should have been on death row in the first place. Over the last year, tens of thousands of people have voiced their support for him in his pursuit of justice, from sharing his story on social media to writing him personal messages. What can you do, you ask?
What? I was going to ask,
what
actually.
Can I do?
I was hoping you had resources.
I do. So, obviously...
We will post these.
Yes, I think I'm going to post them. Like, when you write the description, I'm going to put it in the
they're going to be in the show notes.
Yeah.
They're going to be on Instagram. We'll put them in our stories.
Well, we can't link things on Instagram.
Yeah, we can't do a swipe up, but
we'll share stuff that you can repost.
I'm sure we can find something with information.
But definitely check out the show notes, because first thing you should do, obviously, spread the word, share his story.
Yeah.
If you live in Tennessee, call Governor Lee at 615-741-2001 to let him know you support clemency for Mr. Payne.
Yeah.
And sign the petitions that we're going to link in the show notes. There are 2 petitions. One's an Innocent Project petition. Another one's a Change.org petition. Both are in support of clemency for Purvis Payne. So I looked it up on my way when our friend Sandy stopped by for a little bit before we started recording today, and I was waiting for him downstairs, and I was like, I haven't had time. I was like, let me find out what's going on with Purvis, because April 9th had come and passed.
Right. Like a little afraid to look.
Yeah. No execution date has been set.
Okay, good.
Has been set. They're still looking into his case and looking into clemency. So it's possible.
Okay.
So I felt like this was a really, really timely thing. And I was waiting to do it because I wasn't sure if the timing was going to work out. But if anything, this is, I think, the best time to do it. Yeah. I know that this is technically true crime. I don't think this was a true crime. No. But I think this was a crime that was committed to somebody, and he ended up being a victim of it as well. Yeah. I believe he's innocent. I think the evidence says it all. Yeah. The lack of. Yeah. I also know the America that we live in. Yeah. So it's very...
9 times out of 10, it's not the black man.
It's very obvious. No. What happened here.
Like I've said a million times, when I'm walking down the street by myself, it is not the black man I cross the street for. It's the white man. Yeah. Every time. Because every time I've been made to feel fearful, it's been a white man.
Yeah. So my sources, I read 3 Innocence Project articles. The first was titled, Purvis Payne has been on death row for 33 years. The second is 8 Things You Need to Know About Purvis Payne, who is facing execution. And the third was Purvis Payne's execution reprieve is about to expire. Here's what that means. All 3 were written by Danielle Selby. And yeah, those were my sources. And then I saw an article on Fox News this morning.
All right.
Fox 32. It's not like actual Fox News.
The bad Fox News.
It's not that Fox News. It was like a Fox 32, I think.
It's like the accurate Fox News. Is there such a thing?
I don't know.
Well, man, you know how to bring a room down.
This podcast is called How Awful.
Well, we try and make it jaunty.
It's not called How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by Murder.
No. Oh. Do we have our new theme song? Pause for wine.
Well, we can keep talking.
Yeah. I mean, look. These stories, they piss me off to such an extreme that, and I know it is my privilege that sometimes I have to go a long time tuning myself out to them because of how angry they make me.
Yeah, and I think it is important to note, because we are an audio platform.
Yeah, that we are white women.
To acknowledge that we are 2 white cis women. Yes. we'd like to call ourselves allies, but we know it's not that simple.
No.
We're all learning.
We're all striving to do better. Hopefully.
In theory.
That's the idea.
Most of my life was pretty eye-opening, but I think we're not alone in the fact that this past summer was extremely eye-opening. And I don't mean in the sense that like, oh, I didn't know that racism existed.
Oh, no, we've always been super aware of it.
Super aware, but I think I wasn't as aware of how much it existed within very close boundaries of my life.
I think I'll give my mother so much props for this, because I wasn't one of those little white girls who didn't know what racism was until she was much, much older.
Oh, yeah.
I was very aware of it as a child because my mom did not hesitate to point it out when my grandparents were guilty of it.
Yeah.
Because my childhood friends were Mexican and Black, and my grandparents would not let them in their house or let me go to their house because they lived where the drug dealers lived. They lived next door to they lived next door to the elementary school there and the fire station. They weren't doing anything. They were just living.
They just made us.
But they lived in the apartment building, so therefore they were drug addicts or drug dealers. And they were going to rape me, and I couldn't go over there. And I wasn't allowed to go to their birthday parties, and I wasn't according to my grandparents. But my mom always made damn sure that they knew that I was their child and I could go wherever I wanted to. And my grandma would drop me off with a smile on her face if my mom had anything to do with it. And when my grandpa dropped the N-word freely, my mom told him freely that she would stop bringing me over if he said that one more time.
Yeah.
So I was always aware those were bad words and that people hate people for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm grateful for not having that ignorance my whole life, but I still have a lot of learned things to erase and a lot of ignorance to overcome.
100%. I think I don't necessarily blame family. I blame society.
No, definitely.
There's a lot of societal and systemic racism that is ingrained in us from an early age. Like I said, I went to Catholic school. There were no Black children at my school. None.
No.
I didn't see a Black kid at school until high school.
Yeah.
There might have been a Black kid at St. John, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
There was not one in my class, that's for sure. My parents raised me to be open-hearted and open-minded and to love no matter what.
Yeah.
I have Black relatives. That does not make me exempt.
No, it's not a free pass.
No, but they have taught me a lot.
Definitely.
My cousin Melanie particularly is a very avid listener of the podcast.
They hold you accountable, which makes you continuously educate yourself.
I don't know if Melanie remembers this, but I remember a trip to Montreal. My cousins live in Toronto, but they were with us in Montreal. I must have been...
Toronto, way more diverse than Montreal. Just
way more.
For reference.
Way more. I believe I must have been about 13, which would have made the twins about 10.
Yeah.
And Jesse, their older brother, was maybe about 11.
Yeah.
I'm probably totally messing up.
Melanie is one of the twins.
Melanie is one of the twins. I'm just saying her name particular. I'm calling her out because she's an avid listener, but it was all of them. And I remember sitting down with them.
Stephanie is the other twin.
Stephanie is the other twin, yes. I remember sitting with them, and I'm asking this via podcast, Melanie. I don't know if you remember this conversation, but I remember we talked about Scarborough, where they grew up. And that trip in particular, we pulled up our car, which was a Mercedes SUV. When we pulled up, I told them, I was like, it was kind of interesting to pull up into your neighborhood because everyone was staring at us. And it was true. Yeah. We pulled up and everyone stopped what they were doing. There were people playing basketball. They all stopped. They looked at us.
Yeah. Who are these white people pulling up in a Mercedes?
Yeah. Me and my cousins talked about how that is something that is regular for them. And that was the first time we experienced being outsiders in the community that we are outsiders in.
Yeah.
There is a lot of white people in Scarborough, don't get me wrong.
Right. But there's not a lot of particular part.
There's not a lot of white people with Mercedes Benzes pulling up in Scarborough, Toronto. If you know what Scarborough is, then you'll understand. But it was a really eye-opening conversation for me, and it was kind of an establishing conversation for me because I never discussed that before in my life. And it wasn't because of
lack of... It put the race on the table.
Yeah.
It wasn't before.
And it wasn't before. And it was...
They were your cousins, your family, you loved them, you didn't think about their skin.
Never.
Yeah.
And it was a really interesting... It wasn't like a deep... We didn't talk too heavily about it. It was just kind of
stuck with you.
A moment, and it stuck with me, and it made me not in any way understand, but it made me look through their lens for half a moment.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh...
Yeah.
Like, you just let me glimpse.
Yeah.
What, like, a percentage, like a tiny percentage of what you experience every single day. And since then, especially since June, we have had a lot of heavy conversations.
For sure.
About that. Individually, not in a group. Like, me and Melanie have had conversations. Me and Stephanie have had conversations. Me and Jesse have had conversations. And I just have so much respect for them.
Yeah.
And
because here's the thing. They don't have to have the patience to have those conversations.
No, of course
it's not their job.
No.
Yeah, but they do.
Yeah.
Because they love you.
Yeah.
And they know that your heart is in the right place.
And it's not even that we're having
it's not even like, let me tell you. No, they've never had to correct you.
They just, I think, finally feel comfortable enough to tell me about their experiences.
Yeah.
Because I think they see, or they saw at least like, oh, like she's on our side, she cares.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that they were able to see how much I care and I support them. And I think like it was an opportunity that came about through negativity, not on their part, but on other parts that opened up a conversation. So in a way, as fucked up as it sounds, it was a beautiful opportunity for us to have really intimate and really important conversations that we had never had before. And I don't know if it's because I never made them feel comfortable enough to have that conversation, and that's on me, or what it was.
I mean, honestly, I think it's just your whiteness probably didn't make them feel comfortable.
Right. I mean,
not necessarily your behavior. Yeah. But I mean, I could be wrong, but in my experience, that tends to be the number. Like, you could be the most understanding, open-hearted person. Yeah. But your whiteness is still your whiteness.
Right. And
that alone is uninviting.
Yeah. And I would apologize for being so open, but my cousins know that we've all had these conversations. We're all very open-minded and open-hearted about it. It's not really a personal thing. It's just, it's an open conversation we've had. Obviously, I'm not going to get to the details of it because it's not my experience to share. But I think that it's important for me to share it in the vaguest of terms because I think it's important to recognize and look, we're by no means perfect and by no means
oh my God,
exempt. And like, I'm not calling myself like, oh, look at me, I did all these things. Like, that's not the point of this. The point of this is being like, if you open your eyes and your heart out to a conversation, you will learn so much. Yeah. And you will build lasting relationships with people. Yeah. And these particular people are people I care very much about. Yeah. And it was, for me, just a great opportunity to get closer to my family. Right. But also have a better understanding, not a perfect understanding, but a better understanding of their experience.
I think the one advice that I would give as a whitey, as a whites, as my mom said, is to delete the phrase, I don't see color, from your vocabulary. Because that's not the point. The point is not to not see color. The point is to see it, acknowledge it, and think it's beautiful and love it and accept it regardless.
Yeah, we're all different.
We're all different. And I don't, like, I know you got us all, we all bleed red. I like, okay, whatever. But I think saying I don't see color is another form of ignorance. You're erasing their
trauma,
experience.
Their history, their beauty, their all sorts of things.
Acknowledge your Black friends, acknowledge your Black family, acknowledge people who are Black, who are not in your inner circle, as being beautiful and being Black and living an experience that you cannot relate to, but that you hope to understand. And do not expect them to educate you on it. Do it yourself. You're not lazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, we will add some resources in our show notes as well to do better. Yeah. Whiteys.
I didn't intend for it to get to this.
Hey, that's okay. Mine's also going to take a left into a different category, but similar. Oh, boy.
Let's rock and roll, baby. And we would love to hear your thoughts on all of this. I would love for you
Unless it's racist, then keep it to your damn self because you've had a platform for 4 years and quite honestly, muzzle it.
Anyway, email us your thoughts at howawfulpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and if it's racist, we'll read it on the podcast and rip into you. So that's that.
Not sorry.
Anyway, I had celebrity death. I was going to go with someone else, but way too much work.
Okay.
So I'm going to do them slowly but surely.
Yeah.
But this is somebody whose death anniversary just passed.
Okay.
So we are paying respect and homage to them as well. A year off his Grammy win, following his triumphant return to music with the hit Sexual Healing.
Oh.
Yeah. Marvin Gaye was residing with his parents, Marvin Sr. and Alberta Gaye, due to the extent of his debt and the physical and emotional strain of his long battle with drug abuse and depression. Marvin Sr. and Alberta fought often. This particular argument was over a misplaced insurance policy document. Marvin, dressed in his bathrobe, shouted at his father from upstairs to come and fight him face to face. His father charged up the stairs into Marvin's room to shout at Alberta. When ordering him to leave didn't work, Marvin shoved his father towards the door, hitting and kicking him. Alberta kept her son in his bedroom to calm him down. Moments later, Marvin Sr. entered the room with a .38 pistol Marvin had bought him, aimed it at his son's chest, and fired straight into his heart. Marvin slumped to the ground in front of his screaming mother. The first shot was enough to kill him, but Marvin Sr. stepped closer and fired 2 more shots into Marvin's shoulder at point-blank range. Alberta fled the room.
I hate this story.
Yeah. There are 2 different tellings of this next bit. Marvin's brother Frankie, who lived in a guest house on the property, allegedly ran in and held Marvin in his final moments, stating his alleged final words were, "I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it." In other tellings, Frankie arrived after Marvin was already dead and held him until the paramedics arrived. When police arrived, Marvin Sr. was sitting on the front porch, the gun in his hand. When asked if he loved his son, Marvin Sr. simply said, "Let's just say I didn't dislike him." Marvin Gaye was pronounced dead on arrival at the California Hospital Medical Center one day before his 45th birthday on April 1st, 1984. Marvin Sr. would claim self-defense, that he feared Marvin was going to hurt him badly and that he didn't mean to do it.
Oh, please.
After a diagnosis of a brain tumor, Marvin Sr.'s charges were reduced to voluntary manslaughter. He pleaded no contest and was sentenced to 6 years and 5 years probation.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
He had a brain tumor?
He did.
Huh.
Yes. Marvin Sr. was a hard man who had abused Marvin his whole life.
Yeah,
So,
okay, that takes it back.
Yeah.
Did he have a brain tumor his whole life?
Yeah,
or
who knows?
What?
Marvin once said that living with father was like living with a king, an all-cruel, changeable, cruel, and all-powerful king. Marvin Sr. hailed from Jessamine County, Kentucky, where he was raised by an abusive father of his own. By the time he had a family himself, Gaye was a minister in a strict Pentecostal sect who disciplined his children severely, with Marvin reportedly getting the worst of it. While under his father's roof, Marvin suffered vicious abuse from his father nearly every day. His sister Jean later recalled that Gaye's childhood consisted of a series of brutal whippings. And as Gaye himself later said, by the time I was 12, there wasn't an inch on my body that hadn't been bruised and beaten by him. This abuse prompted him to turn to music rather quickly as an escape. He also later said that were it not for his mother's encouragement and care, he would have killed himself. The abuse that caused these suicidal thoughts may have been partially fueled by Marvin Sr.'s complicated emotions about his own rumored homosexuality. Whether or not that's true, the source of the rumors was largely that he cross-dressed, a behavior that was often incorrectly linked with homosexuality, especially recently. According to Marvin, his father kept his hair long and curled under and showed off his girlish side often. Okay, I find it extremely important to note here that homosexuality, even perceived homosexuality, does not make someone violent.
No.
And that femininity in men and masculinity in women does not automatically equate to gay.
Exactly.
I'm only including this as it's brought up often in terms of Marvin Sr. And as someone who was raised in the church amongst many gay men who hated themselves because they found themselves to be abominations against God, it often resulted in self-hatred, suicidal thoughts, anger taken out on others, drug and alcohol abuse, and much more.
I mean, I would say I'm a semi-masculine woman.
Sure.
I don't think I look
you have
masculine.
Tomboy side. Yeah.
But I have very boyish tendencies.
Sure.
I consider myself non-binary or like queer in any way, but
there's a masculinity to you, and as a child we dealt with a lot of questions about whether or not you were a lesbian, and I was your girlfriend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which,
Not the case. This girl loves her some boys. I was about to say dick, but it's not.
I don't know that I love that so
I don't
much.
know. That's ew.
Ew.
That's just what we have to put up with for the boys.
Yeah, but boys are great, and it's okay to not like boys either.
It's also totally okay, but what the point is that masculinity does not mean gay.
But I'm a bit of a tomboy. Even the tomboy is kind of a problematic sentence, but
is it?
I think I have heard. Oh, I mean, I'm gonna keep it in because
we're learning.
I wanna be corrected. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Because I've always identified. I don't particularly find it offensive.
No.
I identify. I don't know if I identify, but is the right word. But
you're not a girly girl.
I've always identified as a tomboy.
You have very girly girl tendencies, though.
I do too. Yeah. I have,
you're both.
I have both, but I'm not non-binary. I don't.
Yeah. No.
I don't identify.
You're not non-binary or gender fluid.
No.
But you have some masculinity to your femininity.
Right. So in the
and that does not define your sexuality.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm just validating because that's making me feel very personally attacked.
Yeah, right. That's what they're equating is abuse to. Yeah.
I have been asked a few times what my sexuality is because I come across not super feminine and girly girl consistently enough that people question what I'm interested in. And I don't date often either, so that probably
doesn't help.
Adds to the speculation.
Who has the time?
I'm just too busy and self-obsessed to date.
Yeah. But the point I was making is the problem here is not the sexuality of the person.
Right.
But the faith that instilled such hatred in them for their sexuality.
Oh. We're getting on this again. We're on this again.
Marvin stated himself that he was attracted to women's clothing, but did not find himself attracted to men, and that it confused him because he thought you couldn't like one without the other being true.
Hello, Harry Styles.
Yeah. I mean, he has not labeled himself, so we will not label him either.
No.
But he has only dated women, and he wears a lot of women's clothing. So, make your own assumptions. Perhaps seeing the side of himself that Marvin Sr. hated about himself projected in his son caused him to lash out more. Who's to say? But whatever its cause, the abuse didn't stop Gaye from also developing an extraordinary talent for music. He went from performing at his father's church at age 4 to mastering both the piano and drums by the time he was a teen.
You don't say.
He developed a deep love for R&B and doo-wop.
Marvin Gaye is easily one of the greatest
artists of all time.
Of all
But that
time.
voice.
It's insane.
Silk. So as he started to make a name for himself professionally, Gaye wanted to distance himself from his toxic relationship with his father, so he changed his name from Gay to Gaye. Gaye reportedly also changed his name in order to quell rumors that he and his father were both homosexuals.
I was literally going to say, how ironic is it that they're struggling
with their sexuality
and their last name is Gaye?
Yeah.
They're literally Mr. Gays.
Mr. Gaye. Yeah. Hey, that'd be fun.
What? What would be fun?
Being Mr. Gaye.
Oh. What would be fun?
Gaye eventually moved with a musical colleague of his to Detroit and was able to secure a performance for the biggest name on that city's music scene, Motown Records.
Oof.
Founded by Berry Gordy. He was quickly signed to the label and soon married Gordy's older sister, Anna. Though Gaye soon became the prince of Motown and enjoyed monumental success for the next 15 years, his relationship with his father never truly healed. By the time Marvin Gaye finished what would be his last tour in 1983, he had developed a cocaine addiction to cope with the pressure of the road, as well as his failed marriage to Anna due to his infidelity, and which resulted in a contentious legal battle. Addiction had made him paranoid and financially unstable, inspiring him to return home. When he learned that his mother was recovering from kidney surgery, that only gave him more reason to move into the family home in Los Angeles. Back home, he found himself in a pattern of violent fights with his father. Even after decades, the old problems between the two were still raging. Quote, "My husband never wanted Marvin, and he never liked him." Alberta Gaye, Marvin Gaye's mother, later explained, quote, "He used to say he didn't think he was really his child. I told him that was nonsense. He knew Marvin was his, but for some reason, he didn't love Marvin. And what's worse, he didn't want me to love Marvin either." End quote.
Was he, possessive of her love? Did he want
I don't know.
her to love
him? He doesn't seem to have a problem with the other kids.
Yeah, interesting.
But Marvin particularly, he was
probably just jealous of how amazing Marvin Gaye was.
He might have. But, he was horrible to him before.
Yeah.
It's what led him to be amazing.
Yeah, but sometimes you can sense. Yeah. I mean, we can get into that at another time, but look at Michael Jackson.
Seriously. Oh, I will cover him. Yeah. I call dibs.
I'm not. I know better. I know better.
We will get into that. We will share opinions that are probably controversial, but we'll get in. We'll do a whole episode on him. How about that? Yeah. So I want to honor the legacy that's Marvin Gaye and not just the trials and tribulations of Marvin Gaye. He had a tremendous vocal range that spanned 3 styles. Throughout the 1960s, Gaye would show his immense range, churning out solo dance hits and romantic duets with hitmakers like Diana Ross and Mary Wells. Can I Get a Witness? Yeah. And I Heard It Through the Grapevine were some of Gaye's biggest hits of the period, the latter achieving its place as Motown's best-selling single of the 1960s.
I was literally going to say, Heard It Through the Grapevine. Ain't No Mountain High.
Through the Grapevine.
Got to Give It Up.
Oh, yeah.
How Sweet It Is.
I'm getting in.
Lovely Day. No, Lovely Day is Bill Withers.
Yeah. Oh, Lovely Day. Yeah. The thing that bothers me about that song is that he holds that flat ass note for so. Day.
Yeah. Guys, this is Bill Withers. We're not singing Marvin Gaye.
It's so flat. Okay.
I had to quickly correct myself. It was Bill Withers.
It was
Marvin Gaye.
I'm not even confident it's Bill Withers.
It is. I'm like,
hey Siri, who sings Lovely Day?
Lovely Day is by Bill Withers.
Okay.
By Bill Withers!
Just making sense. I'm making sure. Okay. For 3 high-flying years, Gaye and Tammy Terrell wowed the country with their soaring duet performances of songs like Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Ain't No Valley Low Enough, and If I Could Build My Whole World Around You.
Oh.
Unfortunately, that reign as the royal couple of R&B ended when Terrell succumbed to a brain tumor in 1970. His beloved partner's death ushered in a dark period for the singer, who swore never to partner with another female vocalist and threatened to abandon the stage for good. In 1970, inspired by escalating violence and political unrest over the Vietnam War, Gaye wrote the landmark song, What's Going On?
Oh, what's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on? Not the celebrity atrocious that came out after 9/11. No. Despite clashes with Motown over the song's creative direction, the single was released in 1971 and became an instant smash. Its success prompted Gaye to take even more risks, both musically and politically. When it was released in the spring of 1971, the What's Going On album served to open Gaye up to the new audiences while maintaining his Motown following. In 1972, Gaye moved to Los Angeles and soon met Janice Hunter, who would later become his second wife. Inspired in part by his newfound independence, Gaye recorded one of the most revered love anthems of all time, Let's Get It On.
Let's get it on.
The song became his second #1 Billboard hit, cementing his crossover appeal once and for all. Shortly afterwards, Motown pushed Gaye into touring to capitalize on his most recent success. Reluctantly, the singer-songwriter returned to the stage.
Oh, this is actually kind of weird. I was listening to him the other day.
Were you?
Yeah.
So good.
I have I don't have all of his albums. I have a best of. Yeah. I love that. I love that album.
Through most of the mid-1970s, Gaye was touring, collaborating, or producing. Working with Diana Ross and the Miracles, he put off releasing another solo album until 1976. He continued touring after the release of I Want You in 1976 and after scoring a #1 hit in 1977 with the dance single Got to Give It Up. Released his last album for Motown Records, Here My Dear, in 1978.
Which was the first Marvin Gaye song that I got obsessed with.
I used to go out and party because of Charlie's Angels.
Yes, I was like, do you know why?
Sam
Rockwell dancing to Got to Give It Up in Charlie's Angels. Which, by the way, we were very young when this movie came out.
Free.
Oh, that's so.
Oh, yes. After 2 decades of Motown, Gaye signed with CBS's Columbia Records in 1982 and began to work on his last album, Midnight Love. The lead single from that album, Sexual Healing, became a huge comeback hit for the R&B star and earned him his first 2 Grammy Awards and an American Music Award for Favorite Soul Single.
I have a really good Sexual Healing remix.
You do?
Yeah, it's by
Oh, is it? I think I've heard it. So good.
Yeah, I listen to it when I work out.
Despite his successful comeback in the early 1980s, Gaye struggled badly with the substance abuse and bouts of depression that had plagued him for most of his life. 3 years after his death, Gaye was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Creating beautiful art from a troubled life, Gaye again and again brought his vision, range, and artistry to the world stage. At the end of his career, he admitted he no longer made music for pleasure. Instead, he said, quote, I record so that I can feed people what they need, what they feel. Hopefully, I record so that I can help someone overcome a bad time. End quote.
Oh, I love Marvin Gaye.
Life and Times of Marvin Gaye.
That's a good one.
I remember that because, I mean, I wasn't alive yet, but my mom always said that was the first celebrity death that rocked my dad. Hers was Elvis Presley.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But Marvin Gaye being shot by his father, like, just cut my dad so deep.
Yeah.
But my sources.
Yeah.
Was a biography article called Marvin Gaye, Death, Father, and Songs. A smoothradio.com article called The Tragic Story of Marvin Gaye and the Untimely Death of a Soul Legend. An allthat'sinteresting.com article called Inside Marvin Gaye's Death at the Hands of His Father. And a history article called Marvin Gaye is Shot and Killed by His Own Father.
Ugh. Guys, this is an awful episode.
This was an awful episode. What the hell?
I don't really know if I have anything else to say to that.
No.
It's also a very thematic episode.
Was, yeah.
Black Lives Matter.
And LGBTQ lives matter.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah. Shit. Well.
Woof.
I think we have a collective How Wonderful, and we can do our own How Wonderfuls along with our collective How Wonderful.
Okay, let's have it.
So our collective How Wonderful is we were asked to be bridesmaids.
We were asked to be bridesmaids.
We've talked about her often. Our Becky, my Babette, as I call her, I've called her since I was 15.
Yes, our friend Becky from Chicago is
she's
incredibly talented singer.
Oh my God.
And like easily the sweetest person you'll ever meet in your life.
Yeah, I can't even say I have top 10 favorite people that I know. It's like a top like 3, and she's up there.
Yeah.
There's like you, and then there's like Becky. She's the greatest person ever. Yeah. She's so addictive, her personality. That's why she has 500 million friends.
I was literally going to say, she has so many friends, and it's for a reason.
Yeah. We are 2 of 13 bridesmaids.
Honestly, I feel so special to be included.
I know. We're the chosen ones. There's so many.
And, like, I know you're listening, Becky, but, like, it makes me feel so special to be included because I know how many friends she has.
Yes.
And I know how important those people are to her.
Yes. That
it makes me feel really grateful.
Yes.
To be viewed as equally as I view her.
Yes.
So thank you.
The love story of me and Becky, she sat next to me during algebra.
Algebra? I didn't know that. I don't know this.
It was algebra.
I just remember her from high school and her being around.
I was me, so I like made snarky comments all the time to myself. And
you haven't changed.
No, and she would laugh. And I would catch on that she was laughing, so then I would make more snarky comments to get her to laugh, because she has the best laugh in the history of the world.
And you were like, I'm getting attention.
And then we just started, we would get to school early because of the bus, so she ended up hanging out with us, because I think our lockers were close together too. And then we started passing a notebook that I still have that is covered in pictures of Justin Timberlake and Ashley Angel. And I introduced her to you and all of our friends, and everybody loved her.
Our lockers were really close to each other, too, because I remember...
Maybe that's what it was. I think we sat at your locker, maybe.
Yeah, I remember... I mean, look, I don't remember anything from high school. No. I blacked it out, literally.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have some kind of hidden trauma that I don't know about.
We don't know.
I literally blacked
it out. I know.
But I feel like we did have lockers next to each other. I don't ever remember... Meeting her.
You just remember knowing her.
I just remember loving her.
Yes.
Just like knowing her and being like, this girl's the best thing ever.
To know her is to love her.
Yes.
Many a Baker Square and Max and Irma's evening with Becky.
Yes.
Many a car sing-along. She used to love to watch me dance for her.
Yeah, we saw all the plays together, her school plays and movies and hangouts. We used to go to the... What was it? It's like shaved ice. Was it Tropical Snow?
Tropical Snow. It was a must.
Yeah, I remember going there a lot.
And now she's a homeowner, and she's going to be a wifey, and we're so proud of her. And she'll definitely be on this podcast because she worked at a very haunted coffee shop on the beloved Archer Avenue back home. So
literally next time we're in Chicago,
we hope to record in the Ashbury with Becky.
We got permission already. So.
We did, and she knows. I think if we bring Becky anywhere, we can get anywhere. I feel like,
where else can we go, Becky?
I don't know.
If she gets married at the place she wants to get married at, we're not going to say what it is, but if she gets married at the place...
Either of them.
If she gets married there, sorry, Becky. we might be in the hotel room telling scary stories about your wedding venue.
We might be. Sorry. We might be free. Everybody's going to think I am such a freak. Oh, it's the bridesmaid that talks to ghosts.
Hey, I'm with you.
We're the bridesmaids with our SLS meters and our EVPs, and we're trying to do a ghost tour while everybody else is like, oh, you need to get in hair and makeup.
Hey, y'all are listening to this podcast, so you guys are like, yeah, I would too.
We are fascinated
obviously.
by your weirdness. But anyway,
that's
our
connect.
collective How Wonderful.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you have a singular How Wonderful?
Yeah, I watched all of the Oscar shorts.
Cool.
Oscar-nominated short films, the live action, the documentary shorts, the animated shorts.
I watched the documentary shorts with her.
They were so they're
literally lost our appetite during one.
Oh yeah, it was called Hunger Ward, and we couldn't eat during it because we felt guilty for eating.
And because if you like watching babies die, then that is a documentary for you.
Yeah.
Also, maybe go to jail. Do not pass go.
But I wanted to highlight a couple of them that I thought were really fantastic.
Yes.
I told you about this one. It was called Two Distant Strangers.
Yeah.
Look, this isn't technically wonderful, but I like to take the opportunity to highlight something that I watched that I think is really important. People should watch. Check out a short film called Two Distant Strangers. The writer is definitely not listening to this podcast, but I worked with him on a TV show called Black Monday. Or the director. I don't know if he wrote it, to be honest. But so my credits are not perfect. But Trayvon Free is the name of the director. And it is about a man who wakes up a black man who wakes up on the same day every morning, and he gets killed by a police officer. No matter what he does, he gets killed by a police officer.
Don't spoil the ending.
I'm not going to spoil the ending, but it is actually kind of done in a comedic way, which is really alarming to say that. It
makes people pay attention.
But they did it really cute and charming and interesting, and then they really spin it on its head and make you take it seriously. Yeah. Which I thought was such a clever way of doing it, and it's so freaking good. And we watched A Love Song for Latasha on Netflix, so it's very accessible.
So infuriating.
It is a short documentary film about a young girl who was murdered and who basically sparked
the LA riots.
The LA riots in the 90s. Or her
and
death
whose name is not said.
Latasha Harlins, say her name. It was not wonderful by any means, but it was a really well made. The wonderful aspect of it is how well made these stories were told.
And how beautifully her friends remembered her.
Yeah.
But my favorite documentaries was Crescendo.
No.
No?
A Concerto Conversation.
Yeah, that one. I could watch a whole movie of that grandpa and his hot-ass son.
His hot-ass son.
Not son, grandpa. Grandson. Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah.
Grandson.
There's a story of a man who's a composer and his grandfather and their relationship and how their lives strangely mirror each other, even though their successes are very different.
Right.
And it's beautiful.
Yes. Colette was also really good, but holy ouchie.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah.
Holy ouchie Batman.
Holy ouchie Batman for sure.
I guess my How Wonderful is in 2 days now. Pick up my brother from the airport.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited.
His first time in LA since I've lived here for the last 10 years.
I haven't seen your brother in a long time.
Years.
Since your father passed. I don't think I saw him.
5 years?
I don't think I've seen him since then.
It's been 5 years. Jesus.
Genuinely, I don't.
No, I don't think you have.
So.
Because he's moved. So, yeah. So, yeah, Nate, my bubba is going to...
They were supposed to come over for Christmas one year, but I don't think they did.
They didn't. Yeah, no, they didn't. I don't remember.
That would have been the next time, but
I don't remember why, but they did not. Yeah. My brother's gonna be here on Wednesday night. Poor Nate. His first couple of days, he gets to take care of us because we're getting our second vaccine
for COVID-19.
In
case you were wondering.
Yes, of course. But yeah, we're gonna record with him, so he's gonna be in the next 1, possibly 2 episodes.
Yeah, we'll see how long it goes.
We're going to make a video. He's very long-winded, so we could go for a while. And we have a whole lot to talk about. So we'll just cover all of the topics and then splice it all. Yeah, we're going to try and record our first video.
Yeah, we're gonna attempt it.
We're going to attempt it. We're going to go on a haunted hike with him, and that's what we're going to try and record. No firm promises on that, but we're going to try our best.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're gonna meet my sibling. He's 6 years older than me. And he's going to correct me. He's also very sensitive to paranormal activity.
He has a lot of stories.
He has a whole lot of stories.
I'm mostly excited to hear them because I haven't. So
no, I haven't heard his side, and apparently I got what happened in his home very wrong.
Well, I think you were told it
incorrectly. It was a game of telephone that went wrong.
Yeah. I don't think it's that you delivered it incorrectly. It's that you heard it incorrectly.
But he is going to correct. And that's his favorite thing. So he's going to be so happy to do it.
Oh, but anyway, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
We're going to take him on the How Awful tour.
We're going to take him on a condensed version. I don't think he'll care about all of it, but we will definitely take him, possibly record some of that.
I think I will, yeah.
Maybe not to make a YouTube video, but just to throw up on stories for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Anyway, that's it.
Let's pick next week's topic.
Oh, yeah.
I guess whenever after Nathan.
Yeah. We'll forget what this is, but we'll remind you. Yeah, we're all together now.
We are. Pick your poison.
What'd you get?
What did I get? Exorcisms and demon possessions.
Oh, shit.
I kind of just did, but it's fine.
I got awful roulette.
Oh, boy. Okay, so awful roulette.
Yep.
Pick one.
Serial killers. Bum, bum, bum.
Snippety snappity.
So demons and serial killers.
You've got this.
All right, so this is pretty awful. April. We got Nate that's gonna come on. He's gonna be pretty awful. That's his general state of.
We're gonna do serial killer and demon possessions after that.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Give him the spiel, B.
Oh, me? It's my turn?
It's your turn.
Oh, God, my brain doesn't work. Okay, so if you go to howawfulpodcast.com, you get the whole list of everywhere that we are. But if you don't feel like doing that because you don't like things made easy for you, we are on every social media but Pinterest, including TikTok. We are How Awful Podcast at all of those places, and that's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's YouTube. Like I said, that's TikTok. That's Facebook. Right. I always forget Facebook because you should. Everyone should.
But it's where we have the most listeners.
It's where we have the most... Yeah. Sisters?
No. Followers.
Sisters.
I said listeners.
Oh,
I don't really know that they're listeners. They're just followers. They probably just like the logo.
Yeah, it's a good logo.
Yeah, thanks, MJ.
Anyway, you can go to patreon.com/howawfulpodcast and give us your money for more content.
You can donate to our cause of going to hotels.
So here's the thing, guys. We're about to post our first video, and the patrons get it first.
They do.
Maybe they get it a week first. Maybe they get it 2 weeks first. We haven't decided. But
I think they get it a month first.
A month first. Ooh, she's a punisher.
I
like it. All right. Well, okay. If you're not a patron, you do not get to see the video content, which is going to be good. I know it is. For at least a month.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. I mean, it's not expensive, guys. That's what I mean. Mm-mm. It's like $5. You can do it. And then you can fund us going to a hotel and giving you more content. Plus, we already plan to go to a hotel anyway.
With or without your help.
With or without your help for
really
our friend anniversary at the end of May. But
yeah,
we would like to keep doing it. So help us out there. Email howawfulpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us your awful stories. Have you almost been murdered? Have you been murdered? Are you a ghost?
Most importantly, have you been abducted by aliens?
Yes. Have you seen a ghost? Do you have a how wonderful to share? Honestly, anything except for racism.
Don't tell us
and
about
dick pics. Don't send us those.
Oh, God, please no.
Please don't. We will shame you. We'll post it on Instagram.
And tag you.
We will share your IP address.
Do
not test us. We will open an OnlyFans, and it'll be just for our unsolicited dick pics.
I don't think we have
And we will make money.
I've never even gotten one.
Have I ever gotten an unsolicited dick pic? No. I've never gotten a dick pic.
Me neither.
That's preferred.
You know what?
Let's
I keep it that way. A success.
I do too. That success is going to be ruined one day. Some guy's gonna be like, "What do you think?" And I'm gonna be like,
"I don't want to see that." ever again.
No.
You are exempt from my life.
Why do men insist on taking flaccid ones?
Here's
is
the
what
thing.
I want to know.
Here's the thing. Oh God, we're getting into this.
Oh, yeah.
If I were to ask for one,
Send it.
send it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would, but if I were
Very
to,
hard not to say sorry, mom. Right now.
it's really hard not to.
Yes.
I mean, sorry,
Yeah.
Mona.
Yes.
Let's just be honest.
Yes.
Um,
She's gonna be like, oh my god.
I do not want that.
No, I don't want it.
Some people do,
No.
and there's no shame in that.
I have never thought to myself, I would like that man to send me a picture
Why are
of
we
his genitals.
Talking about this.
They're sticky.
We've been the whole podcast, I think.
When I get that feeling, I want sexual healing, but not dick pics,
No dick pics,
sexual
no,
healing.
I've been Tanya Lee.
I've been bisexual.
And we don't like dick pics.
Healing, babe. No dick pics to me. As always, we've been B and Tanya Lee. Our logo was created by MJ Savard, and our theme music courtesy of Nikki Lou.